It's been maybe about a week or so since I recorded and uploaded, but haven't published a video talking about the impending USB-C on the iPhone 15, which we all know. And the only thing that I'm actually excited about is the fact that with USB-C coming to the iPhone, that means one very, very important thing, at least for me, that these headphones, which I still use on a daily basis, that have this 3.5mm jack or input, will become USB-C headphones. So the form and the feel and the fit of these EarPods, not AirPods, is beyond anything else that I use or could use or have used, I'll say, on a regular basis. As you all know, I've always been raving about the fact that I can take this little guy and still plug it into a phone that still has a headphone jack. Use it all the time to talk on the phone. Don't really use these to listen to music, but the convenience of being able to be hands-free, put the phone down, put it in my pocket, do whatever I need to do. And I know you'll say, well, Bluetooth offers that ability. You're right. I don't have to charge these. And I made another video in response to somebody saying that they wish that the headphone jack would come back. And essentially I was just saying the headphone jack hasn't really gone anywhere. You just have to look a little harder to actually find it. Many mainstream high-end devices have removed the headphone jack, and that's just not Apple. That's also Google and Samsung. They've all chosen to get rid of the headphone jack, so that way people who are willing to spend that much money on an expensive phone will also be willing to spend more money on Bluetooth headphones. But that's not what this video is about. So, as I said, very, very excited about the fact that the iPhone 15 is going to have USB-C. Not because I'm going to buy one or not because it would be universally convenient to be able to charge it. I've complained a lot about that in the past. Since I don't plan on buying one, I don't really care as much as I used to. 4 or 5, maybe 6 years ago, it would have been cool to see the iPhone with USB-C. At that point, I probably would have bought one over the course of the last couple of years, like I bought the iPhone 12 mini, since that was a form factor decision. But what I did decide to do, because I was a little impatient when it came to the release of those USB-C headphones, I decided to go on eBay, like I always do, and purchase some other USB-C headphones. I have opened these and tried them both on, but I've ended up actually putting them back in their packaging because I am going to return them because they are not good. But the first little bit right here, and let's see, I will take it out of this outer sleeve, is this little guy. And I'm quite sure that you're familiar with this form factor in terms of packaging, because at one point in time, these headphones actually came like this. And I'm not sure if they still do. I've had these for quite a while, as I've always mentioned, so I don't know if they're still packaged like this, but you can see in terms of form factor that the little EarPods look exactly the same. The only difference here is this little tip right here. Even though it's kind of hard to see, it is in fact a USB-C tip. So that's the only difference. Now, I did unravel these, plugged them into this phone, used them for a little bit, and the truth is, they weren't that good. I was on the phone for maybe about 4 or 5 minutes, and I was talking to my cousin, and he said I sounded fine. And on my end, he also sounded fine, but there was this constant hiss in the background. And I was like, yeah, you're okay. Like, I'm hearing you fine, but yeah, it's like it was just constantly there whenever I think either I or he were making noise. It was like there was whatever signal was coming along, there was some noise underlying it, and I heard it, and I said, that's not really too comfortable. So I ended up winding them back up, put them back in the packaging, and yes, I plan on returning them. The other thing that I noticed, which isn't the biggest issue, but it probably goes into one of those quality control things, is that these are the Apple ones, and there is this rubber that protects the actual copper wires that are on the inside. And this rubber, I mean, it's nice. It's soft. You know, it feels good to the touch. It's malleable. It just seems like some thought went into whatever types of rubber or plastic or, whatever compounds were used to make this. For this little guy, it doesn't feel the same way. It feels like it's cheaper. That they purposely decided to use a less premium material, even though it's just some type of rubber, to go into making the rubber that covers the wires. And yeah, it was stiff. I think that's probably one of the best ways to put it, that when certain products you purchase are clearly of lower quality, if they're supposed to be loose, kind of like maybe some jeans. If you might have some more expensive jeans, however they're produced, they're a little softer. They feel a little better on your body. You like wearing them, but you go and buy those cheap jeans, you're like, man, these things feel like sandpaper. Kind of how the differences are between these two products. So because I still have a phone that has a headphone jack, I'm obviously going to continue using the ones I already own. I was kind of trying to prepare myself for that inevitable switch when I end up again using a phone that doesn't have a headphone jack. But even though they look like the real thing, these are not the real thing. And I can imagine when the Apple ones are officially announced, released, whatever, they're going to look exactly like this. But hopefully they feel better, they sound better, so forth and so forth. Cool. Now the other product that I purchased, I hoped would have been better. I hoped would have been an authentic piece of equipment. Are these little guys, okay? And it's hard to tell, but inside this bag, and in fact, I'll take them out of the bag. I will leave them wrapped up because I have unraveled them, I have used them, and again, I wasn't too satisfied with their performance. These supposedly, I don't know if you can see the G, cover my face maybe, but yeah, there's a tiny little, yeah, there it is. Yeah, get some light on it. There it is. There's a tiny little G on there. So these are supposed to be the official Google USB-C buds. I don't think they're called Pixel buds necessarily, but supposedly, and you know, everybody has said it, that these came with the Pixel 3. And then of course you can buy them as standalone items. And I gotta say, I wasn't a fan. On Google's website, it says these work best with Pixel. So I hooked them up to my Pixel 7, which I listened to some music. I think I tried to use the Google Assistant a little bit. And in terms of functionality and feel, like they were okay. Like, and I'm talking about the rubber here and you know, could the Google Assistant hear me? Yes, it could. When pressing the buttons, did they work the way that they were supposed to? Yes, they do. But what I didn't like, which I should have known before I wasted the time and money purchasing these, is that the way that these are secured in your ear, they do have that front that kind of looks like the EarPod, but they have this little loop right here that locks into the top portion of your ear up here. And honestly, it just wasn't that comfortable. The one thing I do like about these, or this form factor, is that they just feel so free. Like, you know that you're wearing them, but there's nothing that's really getting in the way. When I shove this in, I mean, yes, it does a great job of staying put, but yeah, it just doesn't feel good. I mean, it's in the way. I feel like I know that I'm wearing something, and that little hook is constantly reminding me that, hey, something's in your ear. Something's in your ear. Okay, great. I got it. But now I'm just like, okay, that's enough. And it feels weird when it's in there for a while. And normally when I was testing them, I had one in both ears. So now having one in just one ear, yeah, it definitely just felt weird. So I am going to, most likely send these back as well. I mean, I didn't want to buy stuff with the intention of returning it, and I usually don't. But those other ones, they're just bad. And these ones just aren't as good as what I already have. I could have made that decision before I made the purchase for either one of them, but I was hoping that I could have gotten some type of added functionality out of it. But unfortunately, I didn't. So yeah, they're going back in the bag. And I will not accuse the seller of selling counterfeit products. No idea. On their eBay page, they say that, hey, they get from trusted sellers, that these are open box pulled from whatever. I don't know if they meant they were pulled from Pixel 3 boxes or what, but supposedly, yeah, these are the official ones. And if these are the official ones, yeah, I mean, okay, I just don't like them. I guess that's the easiest way to put it. Yeah, just don't like them. All right. Now, I will say this, though, because this is one of my concerns. And let me just finish closing this up. Let me go get one other thing. So the last thing that I wanted to mention, though, is it's a concern. And it's not novel. We see it almost every day that when you have proprietary anything, it works with that company's other proprietary stuff. So think about the AirPods, the Pixel Buds, the Galaxy Buds, things like that, using Bluetooth connections frequently if they're paired with the phone that is also made by the same manufacturer. You end up with an overall better experience. Makes sense. I am willing to accept that there are protocols in place, things that we just don't see that for the most part are invisible to the consumer, that if the Galaxy Buds are in your ears, if they know that they're talking to a Galaxy S23, they're able to do things in terms of added functionality. It makes sense. Same thing with Apple's products, same thing with Google products, same thing with OnePlus products, and whoever else I might be forgetting, Sony products. But one thing that I've noticed, which is going to probably be an issue later on when it comes to when we are truly using a digital standard like USB-C for something like regular headphones, I noticed that there was an issue even with the regular headphone jack. So as I mentioned, these little guys, been using them for a while, and I'll keep them in right now. Okay. I have been using them with my little Zen phone here. And in fact, let me go ahead and just put this on airplane mode real quick, so that way I don't get interrupted. Do not disturb, I guess, and airplane mode, whatever. Okay, so got my Zen phone right here, and as always, as I've been saying, plug it into the little headphone port. When talking on the phone, when listening to music, if I choose to do that, audio-wise, it's fine. You're not going to get anything amazing, but the person that I'm talking to, they can hear me clearly, and I can hear them clearly, and that's what's most important. But as we all know, right here, this thing serves several purposes. It's the microphone. Check. Okay? If you're listening to music, you can pause it, play it, do what you need to do by single tap. If you need to fast forward or rewind a song, you can double tap or triple tap. The one thing that I didn't mention, and I purposely waited, is that, hey, if you look up at the top, let's see, is it going to focus? Probably not. But at the top, there's a plus and there's a minus. Change the volume. Something as simple as change the volume. That's what the little, that's what that's for. Increase the volume, decrease the volume. When using these headphones with my Zenfone 9, everything works except for being able to adjust the volume. I get it. There's, you start introducing little microchips and things in this, and you press something, it sends a signal down the wire. The phone is just like, okay, I see that I've received a signal, but I'm not really sure what to do. I have an iPhone 6 over there. In fact, I probably should boot it up, but I know the battery's dead, and I'm trying to sit around and wait for it. But I can imagine that with that iPhone, it would work perfectly fine, up and down, bottom to bottom. So what I ended up doing was like, well, let me just make sure there's nothing wrong with the headphones. So this little dandy thing that I've been using for, well, I'll say I've owned for a little while. It's been a while since I've used it. It's a headphone jack to USB-C dongle right here. Cover my face. There we go. Yeah, it focuses. So when using this with the Zenfone, plug it into the bottom here and plug my little headphones in. You know it's secure. All right, see if I can adjust the volume. It does work. Okay, that is very interesting. So I'm pressing it now, and you can see that it's sliding. There you go. So that's a nice little surprise. Okay, I honestly hadn't tested this until I went on video right here, so it's nice to know that that at least works. But if I unplug this and put it back here, pressing again, and nothing is happening. Okay, so yeah, that's something in Apple's coding that's like, hey, it's time to adjust the volume, do something, and the headphone jack's just like, I don't know what that means, so I'm just not going to do anything. Fortunately, and again, as I said, I did not test this with this phone prior to this video using the dongle and attempting to adjust the volume. Fortunately, there is some type of compatibility right there that it knows, hey, increase volume, boop, 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 decrease volume, boop, boop, boop. Can I play something? No, since I don't have Spotify running, I don't think it's going to, Google Assistant. and you can't hear it, but even for the Google Assistant to work, which it does work, it just told me I had to turn off airplane mode. So it looks like it works perfectly fine if I use the dongle. Now, my issue with the dongle was, and tested this literally last night, while I'm on the phone using the headphones with the dongle plugged into this phone, it was hard for me to hear the person I was talking to. I turned the volume all the way up, the call volume all the way up, couldn't hear him. Took the headphones out of this little port, plugged them right back into the headphone jack, could hear the person perfectly fine. So is it a big issue? Not really, but it's an issue. Like I wasn't able to hear the person as clearly as I should have. In terms of clarity, I could hear what she was saying, but the volume just wasn't as high as it needed to be. If I weren't in this room, which is pretty quiet, and let's say I was out in public, I probably would not have been able to hear, considering there's no type of noise isolation around these little things. So that's kind of, in my opinion, maybe a precursor to something, one, that's already here in terms of the whole proprietary stuff, but two, also just a potential issue, which I guess it being a precursor, could be a potential issue. So, but the thing that did end up working perfectly fine, which heck, I don't even need to show it now because it happens to work with the Zenfone using this little dongle, is when I plugged this dongle into the iPad, of course, everything worked as it was supposed to. So no issues. I was on FaceTime audio for a while, perfectly fine. As you know, these iPads have more than enough room for a headphone jack, but Apple decided to remove it. But using the USB-C port with this, things went according to plan. Okay. Now, even though I just showed something that I didn't expect to show because I didn't test it yesterday in terms of putting the dongle in the bottom of the Zenfone and having the volume buttons work, it did not work when using the volume buttons when it was connected to the headphone jack. It's already here. It really is. It's already here. But when everything becomes USB-C, great. Yes, great. And I know Apple is kind of potentially under fire with the European Union about what's going to happen in terms of whether it's charging speeds or data transfer speeds for the iPhone. Yeah, we'll see what happens. But it definitely got me thinking about this cable right here that I don't use, even though there are added benefits to it. So this right here is the MagSafe 3, USB-C to MagSafe 3 cable. It's the cable that comes with any of the 14 or 16-inch MacBook Pros. Makes sense, and I guess even the new M2 MacBook Air, I guess, also has one of these. There are added benefits to this. I know that fast charging is supported when using this little guy, as opposed to just plugging in a USB-C cable into one of the USB-C ports. But I don't like that I then have this one cable for charging literally one device when over with my setup over there, I have my dock and all the peripherals connect to the dock. But from that, there's one USB-C cable that you connect to your laptop. And with that, you're able to power it, send and receive data, and able to have it output video to the monitor that's connected to the dock. So essentially just one cable to the laptop gives you all the functionality that you need. Unfortunately, yeah, it does charge a little bit slower. I think that one outputs 85 watts. If I were to use this, I think it's 90 something watts, like with the power brick or something. If I were to plug the laptop directly into the power brick using a USB-C to USB-C cable and then plug in into a USB-C port on the MacBook, would I still get those faster those faster charge speeds? I'm not sure. But the reason I brought it up though is, even though USB-C is involved, great, thank you, App. We appreciate that. We also appreciate the fact that it's detachable from the charging brick. We're happy that at some point this cable might fray. It's braided, so hopefully it'll last long. But at some point this cable might fray and will need to be replaced. So thank you for allowing us to be able to unplug it from the brick, which probably won't need to be replaced as frequently. But the issue is, I feel like, MagSafe is cool. It is, so I'm not going to knock it because plenty of people use it. But for somebody like myself, the fact that there is a different cable or a different connector on this end makes it a little less alluring. As you can see, it's still sealed. I don't really plan on opening this. Thank you to the person who included it in the box, because I bought the MacBook used. So thank you for including this. It looks like they went out and just bought one and just threw it in there. So thanks. but I don't think I'm going to use it. So you might be asking, in fact, I was guessing, yeah, it says this is a 96 watt USB-C power adapter. So this combined with the MagSafe charger, I think gives you the best experience. If I were to connect this with a USB-C to USB-C cable, would I get the same charging speeds? I'm not sure. I feel like what I've seen online leads me to believe the answer to that question is no. But I'm not going. I don't think I'm gonna try it because I'm using my dock. Like, it only makes sense. I'm just using the dock. It works the way that I want it to work, and I'm able to have that singular cable the way that I want to have it. Cool. So if you made it this far, 20-something minutes in, what is the point of this video? It's to say, one, thanks Apple for making a pair of headphones that I actually like. Yeah, I've had these for 6, maybe 7 years now, and they still work. And I'm excited to see the USB-C ones that come along. I'd say thanks for the companies who attempted to make their own. They're not as good as they should be, but they were $10, so I can imagine, at least hopeful, that the Apple ones will be $20. Will I see a difference in performance? I hope so. If these are the official Google ones, thanks. But yeah, I just don't like them. That little wing really doesn't feel too good. So nice try. And yeah, I'm looking forward to what all comes with USB-C in the future. I feel like we're seeing a lot right now. And the thing that I'm most excited about is probably the most basic thing, but also the thing that is probably implemented incorrectly the most frequently. Audio over USB-C has not been great. There was a period of time when I was buying a bunch of these dongles, and none of them did what I thought that they would do, which was provide a rich listening experience. I bought this simply to talk on the phone, not really to do anything too spectacular in terms of, let me listen to music. But even this little guy has its limitations if I'm not using an Apple product per se. It was hard to hear the person on the other end of the phone. Volume just wouldn't go up any louder, even though I had it maxed to the top. So yeah, I'm excited about these new headphones. I'm going to return these little guys. I'm not going to use the MagSafe cable unless for some reason I absolutely have to. Hopefully, I'm going to continue having a phone that has a headphone jack, but I still will probably buy the USB-C headphones just to see how they operate. And yeah, I'm excited. I normally have something to rag on Apple about, but no, like, I understand why this doesn't work as well with a non-Apple product. I get it. But yeah, and I appreciate the headphones, appreciate the MagSafe cable. I just don't happen to use it. And I'll probably at some point make a video about that 16-inch MacBook Pro, which I'm 2.5 years late. I mean, whatever. I mean, it's new to me, so I'm excited about it, and I've been using it a little bit. So yeah, I think that's it. Before I continue rambling, I think I'm going to go ahead and hit stop. Thanks, Apple, and thanks for everybody who's attempting to try. USB-C is here, and let's continue rolling things out that just allow us to have a more universally improved experience.